We're going to be talking about the top 10 marketing strategies for the Biophotonic Scanner and the supplements. Now, for those of you that were actually able to attend the Pharmacy Profit Summit live session, many of you got to see the scanner in action. It's from the company called Pharmanex, and I've actually known the company Pharmanex for many years now. I first signed up with them in my original pharmacy when they had the first version of the Biophotonic Scanner, which was much bigger and not as sleek and cool a design, still had amazing results. And so I sold the supplements, and they actually have really great lines. They have a whole bunch of beauty lines, things for your skin and anti-aging. Any of you are in the functional medicine or compounding space, I think a lot of their anti-aging products are going to be perfect for you. So I want to go through and talk about some of the marketing strategies. Many of the pharmacies that were intrigued with the scanner and the supplements at the summit are now going live and getting the products into their store. And so I want to support you in helping with marketing. So big recap for if you don't know what the Biophotonic Scanner is, it is a machine that scans the skin on the palm of your hand, and it reads the carotenoid level of your cellular, your antioxidant level, which your antioxidant level has a lot to do with protecting your DNA and preventing lots of other diseases that come when you have a poor antioxidant level. So it's an interesting measure and it's an interesting score. Actually, the NIH Institute actually owns the machine and owns the technology, and they only license it out. It's got a ton of studies, and there's all kinds of scientific literature that you can really dive into on this. I'm going to be really talking about it from the business perspective today and marketing this product and the supplements that come with it to your community at large, and how you can grow your business and position yourself as that expert in your community, leveraging this technology and the supplements. So the Biophotonic Scanner, you go up, it takes less than a minute to scan your palm. You just kind of hold it there. There's really nothing that the person getting scanned has to do. And then you'll get your results, and the results will pop up on the computer screen that you have attached to it. And really, it's like a rainbow of colors of results. It's a gradient. On the low end is red. The darker the red, the worse your score, all the way down to basically undetectable levels. And then all the way up, going across the spectrum, you get into the highest levels, which are the silvers and blues, are the good areas in terms of your antioxidant score from this machine. And so when patients get a result, you tell them the results, like 11,000, which would be red, or you can give them a 25,000 or 35,000. You give them their score, but what they really remember is the color. And whenever you give them the results, there's some little handouts that you can give them, and they really are drawn to that gradient, that rainbow gradient, and they understand immediately. Red is bad and green isn't the best, but green is good. And you can keep going past that into the blues, which is kind of like the best and high levels. And many things affect this score. Obviously, your diet is a big, big part of that, but how much stress you're under, toxins and pollutants that are actually using up the antioxidants. You might have somebody that eats really well, but they live in a very toxic environment. And so those antioxidants aren't having a chance to store up, they're being used. So there's a lot into that. And so the really cool thing about Pharmanex that I love is their supplements. I mean, they're some of the highest quality stuff out there. Again, I've known this company for a really long time and dove into it very heavily when I first started. Gosh, over 10 years ago. Yeah, almost 15 years ago when I first started. And their supplements are just amazing. They use the latest technology, the greatest sourcing. And so they have an entire story behind them, like where they source all of the raw materials for their supplements. And so, but their supplements, they guarantee will increase your score. So the way that I, in general, leverage the scanner when I'm marketing, so whenever if you do get signed up or you are signed up, when you first buy, you get an allotment of scans. But after that allotment, you pay for a scan. I think it's $1 a scan. At least it's what it used to be. It might be a little less now, but it's $1 per scan. And so some places charge for scanning. You very well could, and there's nothing wrong with that. I've seen people charge from $5 to $20 for a scan. And that's, across all the gambit of types of things, whether it's pharmacies or physicians or chiropractor offices. I've seen this machine in many different settings. And so you can definitely scan or charge for a scan. And then you can follow up after that with, giving people kind of a care plan. The way that I used it, and you don't have to do what I did, but just want to share with you what I did, is I did not charge for a scan. I used the scan as kind of the hook to get people in, to have that conversation about their diet, about their supplements, about their health goals. And people like to do tests. We all take the little quizzes on Facebook, or we like to see how we measure up. And so it was very easy for me to leverage the scanner in that kind of way, where I hooked people with the scan, and I might have paid $1 for that scan. But if I converted even a very small percentage of people who I scanned for free into buying the supplements, then I more than made up for that small fee, because people tend to stay on the supplements because they see their score go up. And I had many patients that would use it until their score got up, and then they would stop. And we always offered people to come back in and retest, and then they would see it going back down, and they would inevitably re-sign up. The other thing, just in general, of how I kind of sold the supplements in the scanner is, again, the scanner was used as an opening, as a bridge to really hook that patient in, maybe get them to come inside the pharmacy to get a scan, or come up to us if we were out in the community. But then to have that conversation of, well, what is your diet? What does your supplements look like? What are your health goals? What are you most concerned about? What is your family history? Kind of opening those conversations so I can find out what their goals are, because you're not going to sell somebody if they're not concerned at all about their health. You're not going to sell them on supplements, no matter how good or bad quality they are. And so that really helps open that process up. And what I did was, I always offered patients other methods. Supplements isn't the only way to increase your score. Let's talk about diet changes. Let's talk about adding fruits and vegetables. What kind of fruits do you like? What kind of vegetables do you like? How often do you eat them? Are you willing to double, triple, or quadruple the amount that you're currently eating now? And so just having these conversations and giving other alternatives besides just buying a supplement, I always did kind of that soft sell. That was just what I was comfortable with and what I ended up teaching my employees to do. And so that worked really well for me. I like to give multiple options. Sometimes patients said, I'm going to work harder on my diet, and they come back in 2 months and their score is the same or worse. And now they're like, okay, I guess I better get the supplements. And the Pharmanex, with the Pharmanex guarantee that it's going to raise their score, I felt very confident in recommending their line of supplements for those particular patients. So I don't see any questions or anything right now. So we're going to just dive right on into this. Now, these suggestions are in no particular order, and feel free to kind of take these ideas, even if you don't have the biophotonic scanner, or maybe you do, but you're also looking at other things. A lot of these can easily be tweaked for other things. They could easily be tweaked for the Berkeley Life nitric oxide supplement, or some of your point of care testing services. So I think this is going to be helpful for everyone, but in particular for the biophotonic scanner. So I loved working with local media in my area. We talked about this at the summit as well. Leverage your local media, learn how to work with them, and basically get free marketing and free advertising in exchange for your work with them. Now, eventually you might want to buy some extra advertising because you'll see how good it works. But there are ways to leverage your local media. And so one of the things that I recommend is going to like the news station or the radio station or the newspaper building and doing testing there on site. Contact the office manager or maybe even the salesperson that's been calling you, asking you to advertise, and say, hey, I would love to go and offer everybody at ABC news station a free antioxidant test score. And you go in, you start testing everybody, you start talking about it. Somewhere, some point, somebody's getting intrigued and is like, we need to fill a morning segment for 5 minutes. Would you mind coming in and doing this in the morning? Or a radio show host will then talk about it. Hey, I just had this cool experience this morning. Lisa from Diversify RX Pharmacy came down today and did this really weird machine I've never seen before. And next thing you know, they're talking about it and you're getting some free exposure. The other thing that you can do is if you're working with the talent, the DJ, the person who is on air, typically radio works really well for this, but also for bloggers or internet people, is to offer them free vitamins for 3 months or something. Say, hey, Mr. Radio Guy, your score is really low. I'd love to talk to you about that and the options. And if you want to take the supplements, how about I give it to you for 3 months and then we'll check back in every month and see how your score does and how you're feeling. And it's basically like a live on air case study. And as you talk about this and as people listen to it, they're going to want to get in on this game and come into your pharmacy, get their own test. First of all, see how they compare to the radio or the personality that they're listening to, because everybody wants to be better than somebody. And they'll get this. So it's a great idea to leverage your local media, but you need to go to them, go to the office. Make sure all of the production managers and the engineers and the copywriters, and make sure you include everybody, because you never quite know what their role or function is in that particular organization, what they're, might be able to get you exposure to, or another station or something like that. So that is tip number one, is to leverage your local media. The next one is one of my favorite ones. And this would probably be one of the first ones that I would do for any of you that have got the scanner and you want to start selling stuff like right away, is scan your entire staff. Everybody on your staff gets scanned. And how at the summit we wore the bands, the colored bands, to kind of show what our score was. Instead of the bands for your employees, I bought everybody t-shirts in the color that they scanned. So you go down to your, local t-shirt store, or you can buy online or wherever. And so if somebody's scanned in the red, they got a red, if the orange, a yellow, a green, whatever color, and have them wear those t-shirts. And they wear those t-shirts every day in the store. So everybody starts talking about it. They walk in and they kind of see rainbow of colors, which is probably different than how you guys normally dress. And that sparks a conversation of, why are you guys wearing these shirts? What do they mean? And you get to talk about the scanner and you get to scan people, and it really starts a conversation with people that are coming into your pharmacy. If you have a bunch of deliveries, I would definitely do this for your delivery drivers as well. Because if all of a sudden they start showing up in a, bright solid color t-shirt, which again is very different than probably how they typically dress, you can start, talking to your delivery people as well. But it's a great conversation starter. And then as you retest your employees, and I would definitely offer the supplements for any of your employees that want them. Of course, they're not, they don't have to take them. But if they want them, and then retest in a month and at month 2, and give them a new shirt for their new color. So if somebody was a red and now they're a yellow, that's an awesome story. That's a real life testimonial. Every single time somebody comes in, it's like, hey, look at this, I'm improving. And we did this in my pharmacy when I had that, like I said, about 15 years ago, when I had this first version, and it worked so well. We went through, after the first couple initial months, we would make sure to redo it every couple of months, where everybody got retested, got new shirts. And it created a lot of fun and excitement with our customers and with our employees, and it got them excited to talk about it because they saw the own changes in their own life. And so I would highly recommend you do that. It's fairly low cost, but high excitement and high engagement with your patients that is sure to get patients to ask questions, get the scan, and possibly buy the supplements from you. All right. Another one is to reach out to local hair salons, nail salons, wellness centers, talk about coming and doing a test, the free testing day at their location. So these might be medical spas, they might be beauty spas, beauty parlors kind of thing, but do an on-site testing day. So if maybe it's a Friday or Tuesday or Saturday, talk to them about when's their busy time. all of that kind of stuff. Arrange a day where you're going to be there on site and you can be testing their people at their place of business. So not only is that business kind of getting a boost in value to their patients because they're kind of bringing in some interesting and some educational material, but you're getting exposure to new people that probably aren't in your current patient database at your pharmacy. So these are fresh blood, expanding your circle and expanding your influence in your community. Another great thing about partnering with these types of businesses is they often have email lists. And so in promotion of your day at their place, they can blast out to their email list, hey, Lisa from Diversify RX Pharmacy is going to be at our place next Thursday, all afternoon, for a free antioxidant score. Make sure to come down. You might be able to even offer something to get their email address. So that way you can add it into yours. And so just work with these kinds of places. And since a lot of the antioxidant has to do with aging and wrinkles and how you look, targeting these beauty parlors can be a really good kind of matching outcomes, because a lot of the clients of these places are concerned about looking their best for many, many years to come. Next one is churches. So if churches in your area or anything like churches in my area, there's a lot of people, a lot of people happening, and not just on Sundays, but they have other events, or sometimes they might have a preschool, or they might have like a teenager session on Wednesdays or something, but there's a lot of events happening at your local church. And there's so many local churches. And again, these are like little spheres in your communities that you may not have much penetration in. And so if you partner with the church to come in and set up and have a table and people can walk by and get their scan, before an event, after an event, or before service or after service, it's just going to get you exposed to a whole new set of people. And the information that you gather whenever you do a scan for somebody is you get their basic information, you get their contact information. So now you get to add that person to your database, and you can continue to communicate with them, via email or text messaging, phone calls, for all your other services. But again, people love to test. They love to see what their score is. And so churches is another really great place to reach out to. Kind of along the same lines as like the beauty salons is I would reach out to the owners of your local gyms, CrossFit organizations. Sometimes CrossFit organizations don't have a physical building, but there's definitely a group and a following within that organization. Again, these are people that are usually hyper concerned about their health. They're putting a ton of stress on their bodies. So they might be eating well, but the stress that they're creating on their bodies for the pursuit of the physical goals is kind of chewing up all of that good nutrition that they're eating. And so you can partner with them to give them some high quality supplements that are very specifically protecting their cells at that cellular level. They can still take all their other performance supplements, but it's those people are typically really shocked by how low their scores are because they tend to be really health wise and they think they're making some good choices. But you as the pharmacist and as that clinician can explain how an antioxidant score is different than wondering about your weight or body fat percentage or some of the other metrics that they may be paying attention to. So I find that those areas are really ripe for people that are concerned about their health and they're willing to spend money to improve their health so they can have that longevity and wellness. All right. Moving over to some digital marketing, highly recommend you do some Facebook Lives. We've talked about this in the summit and we've talked about this in many different ways, but Facebook Lives are how you get more engagement from Facebook. Facebook will reward you with more eyeballs, the more Facebook Lives that you do. And so filming and streaming a scan is the perfect thing to have on a Facebook Live. You don't even have to show the patient if the patient doesn't want to be on video. You can just show the hand, in the scan. Talk about it afterwards. If you do have a patient that is willing to kind of go on camera, that is a great just in-person testimonial. Oh my gosh, my score was a 15,000. I was really shocked because I grow a bunch of vegetables and I thought I ate a bunch of vegetables and I thought I was doing really good. and, comes to find out that I need more help, they could just be really like raw and authentic and in the moment. And Facebook will reward you by showing your stuff to more people in your community when you do Facebook Lives. So Facebook Lives are a great way to be promoting your biophotonic scanner. And then follow people. If you have Mrs. Smith on doing her initial testing, make sure to try and get Mrs. Smith on. And when she comes back in 2 months for a follow-up test, and, you can kind of link them together. And again, show that online story and that online case study of how a patient improves, how their scores improves. Do they feel any better? Do they feel any different? Because testimonials and people identifying themselves in somebody that they're watching is a great and powerful way to tell that story. The next one is to reach out to local youth organizations. These could be organizations like AYSO, I9 Sports, your local rec center. But the reason I'm saying to target youth sports organizations is oftentimes they'll have a game day, like on Saturday mornings, where everybody in their organization is all coming together at a single place, whether it's a building or a field or a playground or something, where they have all of their games and all of their events for the week. And so it's a great pile of people that you can get access to. And again, offering the free scans, doing some other things. You can even offer up some revenue sharing with the organization, saying like, hey, if you sell anything from their people, you can share 5% back to the organization or something. You can get really creative because usually local youth sports organizations are small businesses themselves. So you can partner with them in a couple of different ways. And the children, so Pharmanex has a great children's vitamins. It was like Pharmanals or Pharmanex animals, like they're chewable vitamins. So my kids took those for years. And so kids can get scanned too. And parents will often buy something for their kids or do more for their kids than they will for their own health. And so scanning kids and giving them their own score and getting the kids excited about their own health is a great way to the parents' health and getting the parents excited about their health. So you can be scanning kids, you can be scanning the adults, and you can be offering them solutions no matter if they're a child or a parent, because Pharmanex has many different options to take to be able to accommodate them. So number 8, document patients' journeys. So we've talked about documenting patients' journeys, like on Facebook Lives, through the radio, or if you have like a public figure. But in general, you want to be doing this for your patients as a whole. Like, do some data of your own data. I love data. I love using data in marketing. When you're saying, hey, 80% of our patients improved in the first 2 months or something like that. Like, I love tracking patients, and Pharmanex makes it easy because everybody has their own code. Everybody has the unique, like, kind of patient ID. So as you scan them, you get to have all of that data. And so my suggestion for this is pay attention to that data, pull out some interesting numbers in order for you to help market it, because data sells. People like certainty and they like knowing a predictable result. And so when you have the data that can help tell that predictable result story, you're going to do better in your marketing, no matter what type of marketing it is. So be tracking your patients and be paying attention to the data, and make sure you tell people's stories, single mom, elderly man, young woman, kid. Pick all the different demographics that you have, so that people can always find somebody that they can relate to, because then they can say, hey, they're like me. If they can do it, I can do it too. Number 9, we are almost through the top 10. So number 9, look out for large events in your area. So obviously with COVID and Delta, it's kind of patchwork. Some events are taking place, some are getting canceled, but this is a long-term strategy. This strategy will be here long after, hopefully when we're over COVID and past COVID. But think concerts, professional sports events, big high school games, whatever's happening in your town, think those big, large events. contact the organizers of those events and see how you can participate. Sometimes you might have to pay for a table, sometimes not. I've been surprised by sometimes when they see that you're giving away something for free and you're just trying to bring some education, you might not have to. So, but contact those organizers. I know when I had my first pharmacy, we weren't in town with the convention center. And so I talked to the actual convention center people about how to be able to have a present there at different events throughout the year. And they actually had some really nice packages where you can pick, 5 events a year or 10 events a year, because they had events all the time. Whether it was a Black Sabbath concert or PJ Masks for kids, you might want to pick and choose your events that would be a little more accommodating to what you're trying to do. But work with those organizers. If you have any performing arts center, a lot of those places are hurting for funds. So they, again, might be able to do, like, if you pay a small fee, think $500, $1,000, and maybe you get access to their events and can have a table in the lobby or access to their email list, all those kinds of things. But think about big events as we start to come out of COVID and events start to happen. And again, this is for the long term. Think about a big events and how you can participate and have a presence there while at the event. All right, number 10, last but not least. So when Pharmanex and NIH and all of this first launched the scanner with the supplement line, they had a wonderful segment on Dr. Oz. I think Dr. Oz still has a show, but this would be many years old, but you can actually Google it and find it on YouTube. And he actually did the colored shirt thing for the whole audience. So the whole audience got scanned. And so as the camera's looking at the whole audience, you see the rainbow colors of the whole audience. And Dr. Oz goes through this really great segment where he explains the antioxidant score, explains the cellular health, and all those different kinds of things. So I would leverage that video. You can leverage that video. Share it on your social media. I used to have a TV in my pharmacy, and we would have that looping on the TV, interspersed with some other things that maybe we had. But leverage that. If you get people to sign up and get their score, and you have their email address, set up an automated email to where the first email that goes out to them after they sign up is a little more information and maybe a link to that Dr. Oz video. So leverage that, because people like Dr. Oz. He's a well-known personality. He's a well-known doctor. He's known to be in the wellness and longevity type of space. And so leverage that clip, leverage that video as much as you can in order to grow your business and really add some validity to what you're talking about, because somebody might trust you. They might know you. You might be meeting somebody for the very first time and they may not know you at all. But if, hey, Dr. Oz is talking about this same thing, it automatically lends some credibility to what you are talking about. So, all right, those are my top 10 strategies for marketing and sharing the Biophotonic Scanner and the Pharmanex supplements that go with it. I have partnered with the Functional Wellness Network to help provide a ton of support. So when you sign up for the Biophotonic Scanner, you get access to the Functional Wellness Network, which is like Dr. Mancy Shaw, Dr. Ken Nelson, Sherry Mills. Like, you get this whole team where they do nothing but help practitioners implement the scanner and the system and health and wellness into their practices. And so you really get a lot of help and support and information. And of course, I'm always here to help you as well to make sure that you are successful. So thank you so much for joining. I hope this excited you for those of you that have signed up, that have got your machine in. And if you're interested in learning more, just post in the comments. I will also post Sherry's contact information, and she can go over the more details if you maybe didn't get a chance at the summit to talk to them and just to learn a little bit more about the machine and see if it's a right fit for your pharmacy. I think it's a great way to increase cash-based revenue, get away off the reliance of the PBMs and kind of take control back of your business. And in a first year, you could easily make 6 figures just from this process and this system alone with the patients in your pharmacy. So I think it's a really good revenue, profitable opportunity, while also helping people clinically get better for the long haul and the long run. So if you have any more interest, I will post Sherry's, again, contact information, and you can contact Sherry for more information.